Hello there, award season lovers. It's Robbie doing Rob and Justin Take Their Picks. Joining me is.
Justin. Hey,
Hello.
Rob. What's up?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Good, good.
Yeah.
How's it across the pond? In case, yeah, you guys don't know this, we are on separate continents. We're, different time zones. We try to make it work and get together whenever we can. But yeah, he's in the UK and I'm in Los Angeles, USA.
Nice. And I went there on holiday and got this hat.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And I've been where you live on holiday or on vacation, as we say, a couple years ago. But I didn't get any like "I love London" or "I love Paris" shirts, which you know. But no, that's a cool hat. It reminds me of the Kings, like the hockey team.
Oh yeah, I know. I know who they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to ask you a question. Did you see any terrible movies in 2020?
Oh yes, I sure did. I wrote them down. So if you want, I'll hit them up real quick. What about you? Any ones come off the top of your head that was
My
one of
least
your?
favorite film of 2020, as people might know who read my least favorite films of 2020 list. Number one was My Spy.
Yeah, that was a huge disappointment. That one's also on my list. But my number one, which I hate to say, is only because I wanted to like it so much, but was The Photograph with Issa Rae and Lakeith Stanfield. Um, it was supposed to be like this love story and this romance, and it just the chemistry between them was so just not even like you and I have never met, and we have way better chemistry than they do. It was just so bad. I also was bad. Capone, the Tom Hardy movie, Doolittle, of course, which we'll talk more about. The Last Thing He Wanted, which we'll also talk more about. My Spy, Desperados. This was a Netflix movie that was about ladies who went to on a vacation to stop a guy from reading an email. And there was did you see that one, Rob?
No, I didn't.
Okay, well, there's a part in the movie where a dolphin jumps out of the water and slaps the girl in the face with his dolphin penis.
That that
It's
that sounds ridiculous.
it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
I also didn't care for Cuties, which was really popular last year. Also, Cats and Dogs Paws Unite was just horrible. And then Stardust, the David Bowie movie, I did not like at all.
I didn't bother with Stardust when I heard the Bowie family weren't involved, and Cuties just seemed to be a French version of Little Miss Sunshine, but more terrible.
Well, they just really used like the whole battle was is that the girls were too like risky and sexy, like risque, dressing too, and like doing like too much booty shaking, and they're little girls, like under 10 years old. I don't know what was going on there. So
At least,
anyway,
at least, at least with Little Miss Sunshine, we know it's a comedy, and we know it's trying to trying to show how beauty pageants are bad.
yeah, and it has heart, and there is some sad parts to that movie, but yeah, it's mostly aimed for being a comedy. And nobody in that movie exploited the little girl and sexualized her, so
No,
anywho.
exactly. Right, let's get on with the Razzies. Would you like to do the honours of reading the worst picture?
Up for worst picture, we have 365 days. We have Absolute Proof. This is One America News Network. Oh, I see. I don't know what Absolute Proof is. We have Doolittle, Fantasy Island, and Music. Doolittle was one that's come up on everybody's list. When I was picking my 2020 disappointments, it's on my list. But also, um, it's on all the critics' lists as well. Doolittle was just a bad, bad film. All right, so what are you gonna pick here?
I'm going to narrow it down to three because these are the three I've seen. I like Fantastic Island for the beginning and the end. but not the middle. If that middle was rewritten, it would have been a lot better film. But I didn't hate it as much as the other two films. I'm gonna give this a 365 days because I feel like there was no story going on.
Yeah, I didn't hate 365 days. I know it's really bad. It's the most viewed worth of view movies on YouTube that I have. It's over 10,000 views. So that's, pretty big. Um, I just didn't hate it. There's a lot to look at on the screen, lots of sexy people. So, um, I really disliked music though. And so even more than Doolittle because of what went on with that. So I'm going worst picture is music.
There is a question I want to ask. Obviously, you know I have autism. Apparently, autism is portrayed really badly in that film.
Well, yeah, but it's also like they didn't even use like somebody it's worse than autism, like she's like disabled, mentally disabled. But it was a real girl, and she was, you can get there's people out there who would love to be an actor who is mentally handicapped and disabled, so um, I don't know. It was a tough decision, and this movie was made in like 2017, and it finally got released in 2021. But it's a 2020 movie because of the pandemic. Yeah, and it was bad
Yeah, why did it get a Golden Globe nomination?
because they wanted a big name at the Golden Globes. Kate Hudson's a big name. And what's really sad is Leslie Odom Jr. is in it, and that's just unfortunate and he was really good in it, but you can't. Nobody in that can save that movie.
Yeah, yeah. At least One Night Miami was a success for him.
Yes, and Hamilton, of course. He's just a good actor. I really like him.
Awesome. Do you want me to
I
read out? Do you want me to read
yeah,
out
real
Best Director?
yeah, sure.
Uh,
But I did look up Absolute Proof, and it looks like it's a documentary about My Pillow CEO Mike Lindell's film claiming a Chinese cyber attack flipped the 2020 election. So this sounds like a big bunch of hooey.
yeah.
um, all right. So for worst director, or you want to read them?
Yeah, sure. I'll read them this time. We have Charles Band for all three Barbie and Kendra movies. Barbara Biasqua was and Tomas Mendes for 365 Days. Stephen Gangan for Doolittle. Ron Howard for Hillbilly Elegy. And Sia for music.
I'll start. I'll just pick Sia. I mean, for music, you just didn't pick the right things to do for this movie. There's some things to it really good because and maybe this is why she didn't choose somebody who's mentally handicapped. I don't know, but there's parts where this girl, she goes to her world, and that's like where Sia shines. It's like a music video. She's dancing, she's moving, normal, and really happy, and she's having such a good time, and those parts are interesting because visually they're spectacular, but maybe that's why she chose who she did. But I just feel like as a director and as a first time director, she really failed.
So she's a much better singer than director then.
Yeah, much better singer than director.
Yeah. So this one was a tricky one for me to pick. But I picked Stephen Gagnon for Doolittle because I felt like Doolittle was all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the Charles Band in all three Barbie and Kendra movies. Barbie and Kendra Save the Tiger King, and Barbie and Kendra Storm Area 51. What is that? Never even heard of it. But I would have picked, yeah, Stephen Gagnon had it not been for Sia. And apologies to Ron Howard for Hillbilly Elegy being nominated because you don't deserve that, sir.
No, because I feel like Ron Howard is a good director, and I feel like he has made a lot worse films than Hillbilly Elegy. Have you seen Angels and Demons? That's terrible.
Yeah. Uh-huh. I mean, he's not a perfect director, a perfect record director, but Hillbilly Elegy was far better than all of these movies.
Definitely. Would you like to do the honors of reading out worst actor?
Here we go, keeping up with it, going 3 for 3 is Doolittle, Robert Downey Jr. We also have Mike Lindell, from Absolute Proof, so he plays himself. That's got to be the worst. It's Mikel Marone, not Michelle Marone from 365 Days. Somebody on my YouTube like totally blasted me. It was like, it's pronounced Mikel, not Michelle. I'm like, all right, fine. Adam Sandler in Hubie Halloween as Hubie Dubois, and David Spade in The Wrong Missy as Tim Morris.
Right, so I've seen 4 out of 5 of these. Even though I'm not a big fan of David Spade, he did entertain me in The Wrong Missy, so I don't think he deserves it.
Yay! Good
I
for you,
love
because
Adam.
I love The Wrong Missy.
I love Adam Sandler, so I can't give it to him. I'm gonna have to give it to Robert Downey Jr. I'm afraid, because this was a massive letdown after having Avengers Endgame.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give it to him as well because, so it turns out Mike Lindell is probably just a piece of shit person. So that's the reason why he's not. He's the real person being nominated for worst actor. So that means he's just got to be a terrible, terrible person. And yeah, Mikkel did what he was supposed to do in 365 Days. So did Adam Sandler and Hubie Halloween, and so did David Spade in The Wrong Missies. But person who definitely underperformed is Robert Downey Jr. for Doolittle, and that is also my pick for worst actor.
If I had one person to replace him in the role and save the film, I'd choose David Tennant.
Who's that guy?
Uh, did you ever watch Jesse Jones on Netflix?
Nope.
Have you ever seen the fourth Harry Potter film?
Yes.
Yeah, he's a baddie in that. He's the one that
Oh,
plays
okay.
Barty Crouch Jr.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you lived in the UK, you'd know him from Doctor Who.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. Right, I'm going to read out worst actress. We
All right.
have we have Anne Hathaway for The Last Thing He Wanted and The Witches, Katie Holmes for Brams, The Boys 2 and The Secret Dare to Dream, Kate Hudson for music, Lauren Lapkus for The Wrong Missy, and Anna Maria Skiluka for 365 Days.
Um, I haven't seen Katie Holmes in Brahms the Boy or The Secret Dare to Dream, but I don't expect much from Katie Holmes anymore. You know, I don't see her in the film and go, "Oh, she's going to be an award-winning actress." Nothing against her. It's just how it is. I mean, she hasn't proven us any other way.
No.
Again, Anna Maria Cycluca did exactly what she's supposed to in 365 Days, as well as Lauren Lapkus did in The Wrong Missy. She's freaking hilarious in that movie. You guys need to leave her alone. Um, and then Kate Hudson, I didn't think she was bad in the movie, just not a good movie. So I have to give it to Anne Hathaway because The Last Thing You Wanted was one of my least favorite movies of last year. And she was horrible in it. And she's even worse as the lead witch in The Witches. So my worst actress is going to Anne Hathaway. Again, she's an Academy Award winning actress. I expect that level always. And she didn't perform. So
You've only mentioned the witches because I've not seen the movie, but I have a friend with kind of like missing limbs on her hands, and she was kind of a little bit insulted about the witches having like missing limbs and stuff.
yeah, yeah, I understand why.
Yeah, but sorry, Justin, I'm just going to cut to the chase and go with Anna Maria.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, that movie was talked about It was Doolittle first, and then 365 Days is like what was the worst, movies that came out. But it was one of the first movies that came out during pandemic, and it was number one on Netflix for over a month. I know on TikTok it blew up, because the guy blew up. He also sings songs in that movie, which is really funny. But yeah, I understand. Anna Maria Saikaluka, worst actress for you.
Yeah. Do you want to read out worst supporting actor?
Here we go. We have Chevy Chase for the very excellent Mr. Dundee. We have Rudy Giuliani in Borat's subsequent movie film. We have Shia LaBeouf in The Tax Collector. Arnold Schwarzenegger in the Iron Mask, and then Bruce Willis in Breach, Hard Kill, and Survive the Night. All three movies are straight to DVD or Netflix movies. Bruce Willis is having a hard time. Who are you gonna pick?
Right, my pick. Although I haven't seen this movie, I'm gonna have to give it to Shia LaBeouf.
I saw this movie. Yeah, I haven't seen any of the Bruce Willis movies. I don't know why they even bother picking him anymore. It's like picking uh, Nicolas Cage,
Yeah,
They're just in so many movies and they don't care to put out like good quality acting anymore.
yeah,
And it
definitely.
just makes so much sense that they're just in crap. For anybody who thinks Arnold Schwarzenegger is going to be the best part of a movie is ridiculous. So I don't know why you would put him in this category either. And then Rudy Giuliani as himself. Come on, you guys. He's not even an actor. Like, obviously, he was the worst part of that movie. Um, but yeah, Shia LaBeouf, I'd have to go the same. I haven't seen the very excellent Mr. Dundee, but I do love the Crocodile Dundee movies. But Chevy Chase has been gone for a long time as far as like in the acting game. I know he's on Community, but I even think there, like towards the end, he started to suffer a lot, and people talked about how his quality went down. So
He also got fired from Community because of his attitude.
see that? So it's kind of like we expect that from Chevy Chase. So yeah, I'm gonna have to give it to Shia LaBeouf and The Tax Collector because it's just like he got tattoos all over his body to play a Hispanic. It's like you're not and you never will be. I think you're Jewish.
Yeah, why would you get yourself a tattoo for role? I have one tattoo of a stormtrooper on my shoulder because I wanted to, not because of the film. Do you have any tattoos, Justin?
No, I don't. But also, there's makeup artists and stuff that do that professionally. They put tattoos on you professionally. Oh, and by the way, you barely even see them in the movie. He wears a suit the entire time.
Not normally I like Shia LaBeouf, but for this film it sounds like he's gone a bit too far.
He sure has, and he's gone so far that now he's out of the business. I think so.
Yeah. Right, I'll read out worst supporting actress. I don't know why this is in there, but we have Glenn Close for Hillbilly Elegy, Lucy Hale for Fantastic Island, Maggie Q for Fantastic Island, Kristen Wiig for Wonder Woman 1984, and Maggie Ziegler for Music. What are you picking?
Well, Glenn Close is automatically out. There's no reason for her to be in here. She was my favorite supporting actress performer of last year. Um, she's also nominated for an Oscar for the same role. How can she get razzed? You know, Lucy Hale and Maggie Q. I didn't find them so bad in the movie. Um, Maybe one over the other. I thought Maggie Q actually wasn't too bad. Kristen Wiig was just fine in Wonder Woman 1984. She's definitely not the worst part of it. And unfortunately, Maddie Ziegler in music as music. I mean, it's not her fault. she kind of just was given that idea and she went with it. So because of all this, I gotta go with Lucy Hale. I think she was the worst, like definitely the worst. And Maggie Q tried a little bit more. Kristen Wiig was just fine, and again, Maddie did with what she could. And Glenn Close, she's a freaking superstar and deserves all the awards. So I'm giving it to Lucy Hale.
Fair enough. I actually like Lucy Hale as an actress. So I'm going to give it to Maggie Q because I know it just everybody apart from Michael Pena was a bit bland in Fantasy Island.
Yeah, I mean, her whole storyline was a little, iffy anyway. It wasn't the most fun out of all of them, but I don't know.
I
It's
did,
funny that
I
we picked.
did, I did like Lucy Hale as the twist villain. I thought that was clever.
Yes, very much. Yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, it's funny that we got from the same movie still.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I didn't mind Wonder Woman 1984. I just thought I'd tell you now I've watched it.
And wasn't Kristen Wiig just fine?
Yeah, she was. She was probably the best part of that film.
Yeah.
It was more the whole Steve and Diana thing that kind of annoyed me because it's kind of overdone now that bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. Let's move to worst screen combo.
Yes, worst screen combo.
All right, we have Maria Bakalova and Rudy Giuliani in Borat's subsequent movie film. We have Robert Downey Jr. and his utterly unconvincing Welsh accent in Doolittle. What a weird combo. Harrison Ford and the totally fake-looking CGI dog in The Call of the Wild. Lauren Lapkus and David Spade in The Wrong Missy. And Adam Sandler in his grating simpleton voice in Hubie Halloween. Well, yeah, you start.
Because I'm British and I really hate when really good American actors put on really terrible British accents, I'm gonna have to give it to Robert Downey Jr. and his shit Welsh accent.
Yeah, I mean, I because of this duo. First of all, you guys are out of your mind. Lauren Lapkus and David Spade were great in The Wrong Missy. I don't get it, but whatever. And then Maria Bakalova and Rudy Giuliani. That was such a weird, awkward scene that we are still talking about it. So that doesn't deserve to be in there. Of course, there's a fake CGI dog in Call of the Wild. Of course, I don't know why you guys even care about that. But yeah, it's accent or it's voice this time because Adam Sandler and Huey Halloween, his voice was very annoying, but nothing was worse than Robert Downey Jr. and his stupid Welsh accent. So I agree with you. If you're gonna try and do something, you gotta why? Why did you even do that? Don't do a voice. You could have just been regular Robert Downey Jr. voice.
It's funny because Michael Sheen's in that film as well, and he's from Wales, and he said he got really insulted that he was doing the Welsh accent.
Maybe he was doing it on purpose.
What, just to piss Michael off?
Yeah.
Right, worst prequel, remake, rip-off, or sequel. We have 365 Days, Doolittle Fantastic, Fantasy Island, Hubie Halloween, Wonder Woman 1984.
I've seen all these movies, but I've seen Doctor Dolittle. I saw like the old version, and then I saw Doctor Dolittle, the Eddie Murphy version. I didn't see Doctor Dolittle 2, but this Dolittle is just the worst. It's just so bad. I feel bad for Tom Holland, who's voicing it and stuff, because obviously they didn't do anything wrong. It was freaking Robert Downey Jr. and the fact that this company, Universal Pictures, allowed them to have him stick his hand up a dragon's bum and play him like an accordion. It was disgusting. Doolittle, you're the worst movie of 2020.
Apart from My Spy.
Yeah, not an option here.
Well, I'm down for the same as you with Doolittle.
For all the same reasons. It's
Yeah,
just
for all
bad.
the same reasons.
All right, you want to do the final category?
Yes, sure. Right, I'm not going to read out any of the names as there is a
Yeah.
long list. 365 Days, all three Barbie and Kendra movies, Doolittle, Fantasy Island, and Hillbilly Elegy. And I'm
This
going
is
to give this one to Fantasy Island purely because of the crap middle bit.
Yeah, this is for worst screenplay, by the way. I didn't say that. But you're going with Fantasy Island?
Yeah, because if they just had a better middle, it would have been a better film, and I blame the writers.
Yeah. Um, I don't know, because now here's where 365 Days definitely fails, is in the writing. The dialogue is just horrible. So I'll have to give that to 365 Days. Because although it's beautiful and sexual and all that, doesn't save it from bad dialogue. Cringy dialogue. Man, again, Hillbilly Elegy in there. That's too bad. By the way, there's a special Governor's Award for the worst calendar year ever, and that is going to the year 2020.
At,
So,
least, at least the movies we like Tenet and Mank and One Night in Miami and Chicago, the Trial of the Chicago Seven and Soul. At least they've all been good films.
yeah, Defy Bloods, The Hunt, Onward. Yeah,
I forgot how good The Hunt was.
so good.
It was good.
Oh, First Cow, I really liked a lot too.
Nice. Do you want to quickly read all these again?
Here we go. For my worst picture, I chose Doolittle.
I thought you chose music.
I mean, yeah, music. I chose music.
For my worst picture, I chose 365 Days.
For worst director, I chose Sia for music.
For worst director, I picked Stephen Ganghan for Doolittle.
Worst actor, Robert Downey Jr.
That's who I picked, Robert Downey Jr. for Doolittle. But for worst actress, I picked Anna Maria Scaluca for 365 Days.
And I picked Anne Hathaway, mostly for The Witches, but also because of The Last Thing You Wanted.
Nice. For worst supporting actor, I picked Shia LaBeouf.
As did I for The Tax Collector. And it says as Creeper, and that's the truth. He's a creeper.
And who was your worst supporting actress?
I picked Lucy Hale from Fantasy Island, and you picked
Maggie Q from Fantasy Island.
For worst screen combo, we both picked Robert Downey Jr. and his utterly unconvincing Welsh accent and Doolittle.
His stupid shit Welsh accent.
Yeah, unbelievable. What did you pick for worst prequel, remake, ripoff, or sequel?
I think I went the same with you. Was it Doolittle you went for?
That's what it was, Doolittle. All right, and worst screenplay?
I went with Fantasy Island.
And I went with 365 Days because that dialogue is horrible. And Special Governor's Award for the worst calendar year ever?
2020.
2020.
We can't pick another option on that one.
Yeah, unfortunately not. But yeah, but we agree it was a pretty bad year.
Oh, definitely. But at least next time when we do our award picks, we'll be picking the top dogs, we'll be picking the Oscars, we'll be choosing our favourite films.
That's next. Our next picks, our pick episode will be that.
Yeah. Right, so thank you for coming, Justin, on today's show.
Of course. Thanks for having me, Rob.
It's all right, and thank you guys for listening, and Ben, Sean, and the Country Filmmakers for supporting the Patreon.
That's right. Thanks, you guys.
All right, see you, Justin.
See you, Rob.
All right.